We'll get into the starting lineups for this big matchup in the NASL. For Fort Lauderdale, they will start in goal with Oka Nikolov. In front of him will be Guerrero, Antonievich, Alves, and King. The midfielders will be Chin, Nurse, Salazar, and Nunez. And up top for head coach Gunther Kronsteiner, Ebers, and Pakal. Minnesota United, they will start this way. In goal will be Matt Van Olkel. Defensively in front of him, Davis, Diaz, Calvano, and Coleman. Coleman, a substitute for Kevin Venegas. We'll talk about that more. In the midfield, Bracalello, Pitchcolin, Vicentini, Mendez, and Ibarra. And starting up top for head coach Manny Lagos, Christian Ramirez. This, Buzz, is a big matchup for both teams. They are tied by record ASL standings. Fort Lauderdale, though, they have the edge because they are +6. Minnesota is +4 in the goal differential.
Yes, it is, Chris. A great game, a good matchup, and between the two first place teams, essentially. We'll see how it comes on top. A draw actually would be an interesting result, too, because I keep both paired up in the lead.
Today's match clock is brought to you by Seiko, the official timekeeper of the NASL. Nunez with it now through the midfield. This will be very interesting, Buzz. The attack, here's a good ball over the top, but Pakal is offside here early. The attack of Fort Lauderdale against the back, that's going to be that matchup to watch here tonight.
And Minnesota's got a tough back four, playing very well defensively. Even out with Kevin Venegas out, Brian Coleman stepped in and done very well. But a creative side for Fort Lauderdale, they're going to make some things happen and put a lot of stress on our back line.
Kevin Venegas out with a broken jaw. He suffered during training. He's out for a few more weeks. We'll miss the remainder of the spring season, but a nice luxury for head coach Manny Lagos is to be able to put in a veteran like Brian Coleman and Venegas. Is this a game, Buzz, with the importance of this game, that both teams kind of control their own destiny in a sense if they win with just 3 games remaining after tonight? Is this one of those that you really need to be on top of your game? I mean, you do in other, most games, but this one especially because of its importance?
I'm sure both teams trained very hard this week, Chris, and prepared well for this match because they know its importance. And I think we're going to see a great game overall. I mean, both teams look sharp in the warm-ups, and I think we'll see some great action.
Here's now the attack for Minnesota. Ibarra pushing it out left, Davis. He'll keep it on the deck. Now Pitchcolin wearing the captain's armband. Vicentini battling with Nunez. Play continues. Ibarra swinging it out right to Mendez. Overlapping is Coleman. Mendez picking his head up. He'll play it back in, far post. Ibarra with the header and into the gut. Good start here for Minnesota to create an attack.
Good change of direction, and Miguel Ibarra got in a good position. Just couldn't get enough power or an accuracy on it to beat the keeper.
Antonievich. Now Alves pressured by Ibarra. Fort Lauderdale trying to get it out of danger, able to do so. But that pass just a little too far for Pakal. Something different we've seen now from Minnesota here early in this game. Last time the team played here at Minnesota was the pressure. They've been putting the pressure on now the back of Lauderdale. Is that a team-by-team thing? Is it the way that Minnesota approaches their game against against Indy, and now it's different in the way they're going to approach the strikers?
It looks that way to start, Chris. I mean, it looked like they sat back a little bit against Indy, and I think the idea was to counter the team. They thought they were vulnerable on counterattacks, and they went with that tactic for that game. A little more high pressure, force the game in their side, Indy's side, to Fort Lauderdale side of the field, and try to make things happen here.
That ball from Pitchcolin intended for Ramirez hit just a bit too strong. So it'll be the first goal kick of the day. A lot of experience in the Bundesliga, 19 seasons with Eintracht Frankfurt. Made 413 appearances during that time. So a very solid, experienced goalkeeper between the pipes for the strikers here tonight. Here's a giveaway in middle third. Getting away with it was United. Diaz trying to get it out. Salazar takes it away. Pakal quickly, one touch through looking for Ebers. Good step by Calvano to intercept that.
Aaron Pitchcolin's lost it twice now in the midfield, Chris, and that's where how
He too with a few yellow cards under his belt as well here. He too with a few yellow cards under his belt as well here this season.
And you see where Giuliano able to touch that ball poorly, but get his body in a position where he drew the foul and did not give that ball up.
Pitch Colin. Vicentini tried to chip it over the top. That went off of Nurse. Pacall with the clearance. Off the head of Ebers. Collision between Ebers and Diaz. And the referee, Fotis Bazakos, quickly to call the training staff out to tend to both teams. His blood on his right hand. Beautiful night here. It's been, not the greatest of nights when these Minnesota United squad has played at the National Sports Center, but tonight is different. The sun is out, beautiful 66 degrees, and the grass looks quite nice here at the National Sports Center.
Yeah, the field looks terrific for playing. I'm sure the players are going to enjoy it, and the crowd is filling up the stadium, and I think we're going to see a wonderful atmosphere. You see the head ball going up strong, and Cristiano in good position, and Ebers comes charging in, and they just collide. That head ball situation. Looks like Ebers got a little gash on his head. And I think Cristiano will just get a little cold pack on his and be back in play. Although with the situation about concerns about concussions, Chris, we may see both these players taken off the field and examined by medical staff before they're put back in the game.
So Diaz is to his feet. Athletic trainer tending to him, but Ebers, as you see there, is still on the ground and being tended to. But yeah, after that collision, when Ebers put his hands on his head, then took him off, and you could see the blood. So
and they have to stop the bleeding before he can continue to play. They may use a butterfly stitch. They also want to check the symptoms for concussions, make sure he's all right to go back and play. Training staff now are very conscious of these situations and how important it is to keep the players' best interests in mind and not worry about winning or losing this game at this point in time.
This injury break is brought to you by Twin Cities Orthopedics, the official team physicians and trainers of Minnesota United. Twin Cities Orthopedic offers acute injury access walk-in clinics from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. 7 days a week. See us in Burnsville, Edina, Maple Grove, and Waconia. An injury is required. An appointment is not. So this is, you see the wrapping the head. And to his feet now. Marius Ebers, so good sign, good to see. I mean, granted he's got a, gash on the back of his head, but at least he's to his feet and able to kind of walk off the field under his own pressure.
And in terms of that collision, I'd say that Cristiano's forehead a little firmer, a little stronger, the back of the head a little weaker and a little more tendency to maybe get a gash or a cut. But hopefully he's all right. And said hopefully the staff will look at him carefully and examine him and make sure he doesn't show any signs of any type of serious concussion.
Cristiano Diaz back onto the field for Minnesota United. And Ali Hassan replaces Marius Ebers here early in the 8th minute for Fort Lauderdale.
Important to be safe, and Fort Lauderdale is taking that precaution right now. They want a player like Ebers the whole season. They don't want anything to happen seriously to him this early in the season.
Hassan this was his 3rd appearance of the season, hasn't started any games.
With Ebers right now to get his head a little bit more serious, that they're calling in. Not only the team trainers, but the physicians as well.
Hopefully it's not too serious. It's something that they're able to stitch up quite easily here. And Ebers will be ready to play next week.
Yeah, it must be a pretty good sized gash. And the other thing, he probably showed some symptoms of concussion. Maybe eyes dilated in a way. He wasn't quite clear about what happened. There's different things you do to give a little test to see if that player's mental capacities haven't been affected by that blow to the head.
Calvano battling with Hassan. Ali has debut with Fort Lauderdale in 2012. In his debut April 7th against FC Edmonton. He got a red card in the 40th minute from the referee, Ted Uncle. And what does he do after serving his red card? Comes back, plays against Puerto Rico, scores a hat trick.
Good way to respond to that.
Referee Fotis Bazakos over to have a quick chat with Daniel Mendez after that foul. Fotis Bazakos, as I said, is their center referee. His assistant referees are John Krill and Dan Stupka. Matt Printup is the fourth official. Antonievich puts it back in play now. Good little flick on there. Clearance by Diaz. Vicentini. Ramirez a little touch. Vicentini out left. Bracalello had Ibarra on the diagonal run, but Bracalello decided to hold on.
He should have given it to Miguel. Miguel was open, made a nice curling run to keep on side. Now Simone's chasing back to help out, and he does well. He knows he made a mistake. That's why he recovered that 60, 70-yard sprint to back him and help his team.
Ivan Guerrero. Salazar. A little too far, intended for Nunez. Davis bringing it upfield for United. Justin Davis, another member of that back four for Minnesota United, who's been putting a lot of minutes in this season early. He started all 5 games and has played every minute so far prior to tonight. Good ball. Ramirez takes down. And a handball penalty kick coming up for Minnesota United. Darnell King, the guilty party on that one.
What a ball by Calvano, just driven over the top, just behind the defensive wall. Ramirez brings it down, good touch. Sorry, the handball, and Minnesota's a chance to get on the board first here.
Simone Bracalello to take the penalty kick from Minnesota United, looking to put his team up early, 1-0 here early in this matchup.
Again, does the keeper guess, or does he try to read Simone? So, although Simone's tough to read.
Bracalello, 1 goal on the season so far, that also from the penalty spot. The whistle from the referee. Bracalello. 1-0 Minnesota.
Strikes it with to the right of the keeper. Side netting. Keeper guesses in a sense the right way, goes the right way with the ball, but just couldn't get to that ball with such pace on it. So an early lead for Minnesota on a wonderful ball by Thiago Calvano and over the top of the fence. You know, just the power he puts on it, Chris, just hammers it, and with accuracy too, just into that corner.
So scoring in the 12th minute from the penalty spot, his second goal of the season, number 7, Simone Bracalello. Bracalello in the 12th minute makes it 1-0 in favor of United.
Now Fort Lauderdale is going to come out with lots of intensity and pressure. Minnesota's got to handle that and respond well as Fort Lauderdale tries to get that goal back early on.
Van Oekel will knock it long. Ramirez working hard. Had his foot stepped on by Guerrero.
Dangerous ball by Cristiano, almost picked off by Ali.
Good long ball from Van Oekel, headed away by Alves. Coleman, for teammate Martin Nunez. Coleman. Now, Minnesota, we saw here early, really put a lot of pressure on the back four of Fort Lauderdale. Now, being up a goal, do they keep the same pressure or maybe ease off just a little bit?
I think this part of the game, you still keep the same pressure, Chris. You still do the same things that got you successful and got you that goal.
The call with a nifty little back heel, but Bracalello is there, working against King, who's come up from the back to apply pressure. Good step by Vicentini. Vicentini. That's a crack at it. That's blocked by Alves.
Get some range, some space. I'm surprised Fort Lauderdale give him that much time to take that shot.
Now here, Fort Lauderdale on the attack. Salazar Good ball over to Hassan. Defended by Calvano. You can hear head coach Manny Lagos telling his team to push up, push up. Anytime that ball is played back in support by Fort Lauderdale, you see United really starting to, push up and increase that offside line.
You want to make that field, use the word compact, to make the field tighter, less running for players.
Nurse with time. Throw in for Minnesota.
And Matt Peduncle wanted to get that ball up a little higher, bypass that team's midfield, at least get it to their defenders or your forwards.
Cristiano Diaz, one of 5 Brazilians on this roster. Davis pushing up. Now support Broccolello in midfield.
Again over the top.
Looking for Mendez. Antonievich interrupts that. Ramirez gets a piece of it.
Going to be tough to beat Antonievich in the air. He's about 6'5", good in the air, good skills with the ball too, good foot skills.
Antonievich made his debut just about a year ago against FC Edmonton. He was selected in the 43rd overall in the 2012 MLS draft by Sporting KC. Pitch Colin. Good give and go with Ramirez. Good step by Alves. And pitch Colin. Called for the foul, coming in a touch late.
A little bit of the frustration of having the 1-2, getting a little ahead of him, and couldn't quite get to it, and comes into the defender pretty hard. And unfortunately, it was going to be Minnesota's possession because Fort Lauderdale giving the ball away.
Nurse spent time with Edmonton. Chin. Good run. Ivan Guerrero. Good cross in, looking for Pakal. Had it down, and that'll be a goal kick for Minnesota United. That's one thing that Fort Lauderdale needs to take advantage of, and runs out of the back by assists on
the flag to get that cross in.
Folks, I want to remind you to join us here next week at the National Sports Center. Minnesota United back on the field. They will be hosting Carolina. You can get your tickets at mnunitedfc.com/tickets. So if you like what you see here on 45 TV, never been out to the National Sports Center, you need to come on out, check it out. 45 TV, never been out to the National Sports Center, you need to come on out, check it out. Great atmosphere, you're very close to the field, see and hear everything, and it's some quality soccer. So come on out and check it out next week when United hosts Carolina. We've talked about the attack buzz of Fort Lauderdale. They have been rather efficient this season. Coming into tonight, they've had 26 shots on target. 13 of those have resulted in goal. So 50% of their shots on target have found their way to the back of the net.
That is a great percentage, Chris. When you finish, you have your shots. That's why they're the leading goal-scoring team in the league right now, and why this game is far from over, with only 1 goal for Minnesota so far. It's going to take at least 2, maybe more, to win this game.
There you can see the dark clouds in the background of that shot. Again, out in full force. Great turnout here at the National Sports Center. And while we're talking about supporters group, quick hello to Flight 19 and the Tri-County Ultras. Chip far post. Ball still in play. Everybody had kind of stopped on it. Vicentini couldn't keep it between the lines over in the corner.
Oh, so close. He made a good run for it, beat the defender to it. I think Coach Lagos wants Simone to drive that ball across more than pull it back away from the goal.
Guerrero trying to get it out of danger here for Fort Lauderdale. Sean Chin with a touch. Name very familiar to Minnesota fans. He spent 2012 here with Minnesota Stars FC. Made that run to the championship game, ended up losing to Tampa Bay that year. But Sean Chin had worn a Minnesota jersey in the past. As had Martin Nunez. He had spent time here as well. Darnell King played collegiately at Florida Atlantic University for the Owls. Antonievich bringing it upfield now in his second year wearing the Strikers stripes.
Good touches in and out by Fort Lauderdale there. They just gave it up on that pass, but notice how they went into the forward, back out again to the midfielder. Looks going wide.
Calvano with a bit of footwork.
Oh,
Stopped by Nurse. Salazar now quickly back come the Strikers. Touched out by Diaz. So we'll throw in on the far side for Fort Lauderdale.
yeah, Calvano just couldn't get up soon enough. Mendez in the flank, or Ibarra making that run.
That's on. Now Chin. He'll keep it going right. King. Chin would probably want that one back. Goal kick for United.
Again, with this conditions, we'll see the heat actually take a little toll. These players look a little tired at times now. Speaking, the cold weather we've had in this warm day is a big jump in temperature. Tough to handle.
You guys mentioned obviously Sean Chin and Martin Nunez both playing here in 2012 when Minnesota United was the Minnesota Stars, and I caught up with Sean before the game, and he said the biggest difference from the time that he played here in 2012 till tonight is the amount of fans that were actually in the stadium during practice and warm-ups. He said that was never the case when he was a part of Minnesota Stars.
It really kind of adds to the buzz, the excitement, and the dedication that the fans have to their home squad, and now showing up, wanting to see who's going to be in that starting 11, seeing who is out here to play for both teams.
Just a good comment when Miguel went through there. Simone's got to read a little quicker. He could have come through and helped win that ball.
Mendez, Coleman to his right, instead gives it to Pitch Colin. Good tackle by Nurse to win it. Here now, Strikers on the counter. Nunez with speed up the left side. He's got to slow up a bit and get some teammates with him. Guerrero making a good run. Nunez decides to have a shot, and that goes well wide. So it belonged to United. Greg, you could see up the left side was Ivan Guerrero. He was wide open. If Nunez had looked left, Guerrero was in.
Had a moment to give it to him, but I think what Nunez wanted to use him as a decoy run and bring the ball inside. He just couldn't get enough power and accuracy on his right foot to bend that ball around Matt Van Oekel. But as I mentioned earlier, 36-year-old Guerrero is really running up and down that flank. Corriendo mucho. Gee, lots of running with pace.
Ivan Guerrero has started every game, played every minute for Fort Lauderdale this season. A lot of experience, Ivan Guerrero. He was a 2005 MLS All-Star with the Chicago Fire. So you have an experienced goalkeeper in Oka Nikolov in the back for Fort Lauderdale, and then in front of him, you've got some experience as well, specifically Guerrero. Vicentini now. Pitch Colin. Good swing. Good strike by Pitch Colin. That was off a Fort Lauderdale defender, so it'll be a corner kick here. Minnesota.
And you like the way the ball's moving from side to side. It comes to this side. Aaron Pitch struggled, changing direction of the ball, just quickly just turned, fired out to Brian Coleman. As you said, Brian had the sun in his eyes, shielded the eyes, laid it down and drove the ball across and popped back out to Pitch Coleman, cracked a shot, and we earned a corner kick.
This corner kick brought to you by Which Superior Sandwiches. 10 Twin Cities locations. Do you prefer? Bracalello on the corner for United. 25th minute. United with a 1-0 lead on a goal by that gentleman right there. Not the best of services.
Fort Lauderdale sets up a zonal defense on corner kicks, and you have to get up for those first few defenders, and hopefully one of your runners can split the seam of the zone, and you just put that ball in his head. Simone couldn't quite do that in that cross.
Right side. Fouls even at 4 apiece here early. Fort Lauderdale with 2 shots to Minnesota's 1. Diaz. Good switch. His 4th year.
He overhit that one. But better be overhit than underhit and have the Fort Lauderdale player pick it off in a square setting.
Nunez. Finally the whistle from the referee.
We saw those quick feet of Nunez in Minnesota too. He'll be a handful.
Martin Nunez, he made 25 appearances, scoring 5 goals in 2012 for Minnesota Stars. He came to Minnesota actually in a trade with Fort Lauderdale for Jack Stewart. Throw in here now for 6th minute, Chris Lidholm, along with Buzz Lagos and Lindsey Gensel. We thank you for joining us on 45 TV. Hassan working with his back to the goal. McCall and Davis. Good work there by Justin Davis.
Yeah, showing some good experience in that defensive area. Again, Fort Lauderdale's going to crowd the area, try to keep it in this air zone and win the ball back and go for a counterattack. Or attack, I should not a counterattack.
Vicentini, now Calvano. Pressured by Hassan. Fort Lauderdale now kind of seeing it the same thing as a cross in from Salazar goes right in. You're starting to see it a little bit now, the same that we saw in their last home game against Indy. Minnesota's struggling to get a good clearance out, and when they do clear it, find a teammate. Instead, they've been knocking it out, but it's going right to Fort Lauderdale.
You know, it's been good pressure by Fort Lauderdale. We're getting on top of players, making it difficult to find an open player. So we just haven't been able to find that flat spot in the right place, although we still are showing better possession this game than we have in the last 2 games. Minnesota's showing much better possession than we have in the last 2 games.
Right now we've got Greg Jordan from Minnesota United warming up on the sideline. Sounds like if he does come in, it will be on for Cristiano Diaz, who is not feeling well, according to Coach Carl Craig, after that collision with Marius Evers.
Thanks, Lindsay. And yeah, if when Jordan comes in, if it is for Diaz, we'd expect Pitch Colin to step into the back or be alongside Calvano. And Jordan would play in that kind of holding center midfield position along with Giuliano Vicentini.
Yeah, and Aaron's shown great experience here, so he can clearly move in that role very comfortably.
Here's Mendez now. Pitch Colin. Salazar now for the strikers. Good ball, finding Nunez open.
Far post open too.
Nunez able to elude a sliding Calvano. Diaz over to defend. Guerrero out of the back. Good cross in. Head out by Calvano.
And great counter for Fort Lauderdale. Dangerous situation for Minnesota.
Here's that substitution that Lindsay mentioned. It will be Greg Jordan stepping onto the field to replace Cristiano Diaz. We talked about the Minnesota United's last game this past Monday, a 1-0 loss to the New York Cosmos. Fort Lauderdale, they come in on a win. A beautiful goal by Mark Anderson was one of 4 scored against Atlanta last week, and that goal by Anderson was actually the NASL goal, play of the week.
Wonderful strike by Anderson. What a goal in the upper corner. Now, you figure Diaz, you try to stay in the game, but when you look at what happened to Evers, probably the knock on Diaz was really powerful too, and he thought he could get through it, but I'm sure his brain got a little shaken up, and we'll have some minor concussion issues, and those guys will probably be out for a week or so, recovering.
So a 30th minute substitution for Minnesota. Greg Jordan on for Cristiano Diaz, and sure enough, as they've now lined up, Pitch Colin has moved to the back line alongside Calvano, and Jordan has moved into that defensive center midfield position. Hassan with the flick. Bit of a miss hit by Davis. Pakal trying to take advantage of it. Davis keeps it in play. Pakal hustles back. Good battle down there in the corner between Pakal and Davis.
Davis shielded it well, kept the foul from getting the ball, goal side of him.
Alves doesn't keep it in play. Justin Davis made 18 appearances, had 2 goals last year for Minnesota United. 100 minutes. Make that over 1,700 minutes for Justin Davis. Ball belonged to Fort Lauderdale. Broccolello gets it back. It'll stay with the home. Simone Broccolello, 2 goals in the season, both from the penalty spot. 1 here tonight already. Simone Broccolello made 22 appearances, had 7 goals and 5 assists. Second leading scorer for United last season, behind Pablo Campos, who is out at least during this spring season with a knee injury that he suffered on the team's trip to England, a torn ACL and MCL, and he's actually making quite a recovery. So he should be back ready for the fall. Foul called against Salazar.
Yeah, Giuliano trying to slow it down a bit, gets a little touch, uses his body well, and see the shove by Salazar.
That one's a little easy one for Fotis Pazakos. Good pressure put on by Hassan. Pitch Colin now with it. Coleman. Carolina with a 2-0 lead over Atlanta. That game being played in Carolina at WakeMed Soccer Park. Connor Tobin, a name very familiar with this game. And Carolina, as it is right now, continuing that nice win streak they have at WakeMed. They have been undefeated in about 18-19 games, and it's just tremendous. And it looks like it's continuing here tonight against Atlanta. Chin, good service in. Hassan with a header. That just misses by a little bit. And it'll be a goal kick for United.
A couple heavy touches by Minnesota. Giuliano just gives a cross and the challenge and up. Ali just got an edge on the defender, stepped inside, but couldn't get it on target with much pace either. Hit that ball so it's far post and catch the keeper where he can't get to it.
Matt Van Oekel in his 6th year in Minnesota. Made 18 appearances, allowed 26 goals last.
In the header with Cristiano Diaz. He is being treated by team athletic trainer David Bloomquist. He'll be back on the field here shortly. But bad news for Cristiano Diaz. He is being taken out by Twin Cities orthopedics physician Corey Wolf with a probable concussion right now.
That's not what you want to hear, especially if you're Cristiano Diaz. Ramirez. And the flag is up. Ramirez was offside.
Well, they're really close, Chris. When I looked at that line, I know I'm the same angle that the lines person has, but he looked pretty close to the blade off of Simone's foot.
We mentioned the Atlanta game. 3 other games taking place tonight. Battle of the expansion teams. First year Ottawa is at first year Indy. Tampa Bay is hosting New York, and Edmonton and San Antonio doing battle at Toyota Field down in Texas. Play on called by the referee as Broccolello went down in a heat. Calvano bringing it upfield. Good step by Guerrero. Hassan offside. 1-0 our score here. So lone goal from the penalty spot in the 12th minute is our difference. We're in the 36th minute here at the National Sports Center. Chris Lidholm along with Buzz Lagos and Lindsay Gensel. Thanks for joining us on 45 TV. Hope you're enjoying the game so far. It's been a good one. It's really kind of lived up to its billing.
It has, Chris. Just good. Both teams are actually playing quite well. Overall, good possession. Though goal-scoring opportunities are tough to come by as both teams' defenders are very solid.
Greg Jordan working the sideline. Finally tackled by King. Chin wins the throw-in. Greg Jordan, like I said, in his first year. This is his 5th appearance of the season. Spent some time with the Harrisburg City Islanders on loan from Philadelphia of the MLS. Referee Colston Davis. Not sure if referee is coming to the defense of his assistant referees or whatever may be the case. Nonetheless, we're back at play. Vicentini with possession. Mendez tried the dummy. Guerrero was onto it. Nunez.
Great passing.
Salazar. He goes down on his own. Play continues. Nurse.
Great attacking play by Fort Lauderdale down that flank. Again, Guerrero is just dynamic out there.
Clearance by Davis. Sean Chin just, he seems to like that, knocking the ball as hard off the Minnesota player as he can.
Miguel Ibarra and Simone are not getting good first touches and using their body well to keep possession for the team.
Ball goes off the back of Ramirez. Here's an opportunity now for United. Ibarra, Mendez. Broccolello, Ramirez, top of the box. Vicentini, Mendez. Broccolello, bit of a mishit. Ibarra with the chance. Ball still in play. Guerrero with it in the corner.
Oh, what an opportunity for Miguel Ibarra. If he stroked that well, that was another goal for Minnesota. The good power shots by Minnesota, putting pressure on Fort Lauderdale.
Broccolello with it now for United. Finds an open Brian Coleman on the right side. Against Guerrero, around Guerrero. Ramirez fans. Ibarra! Blocked by King. Antonievich using all 6'5" to get to that one. Broccolello and King slow to their feet. Here now, the strikers on an attack. Nunez, position, not quite sure. Pakal on the same page in that one. They're letting each other know it.
Yeah. Referee played the advantage on it because it was a foul.
Good tempo here between Minnesota and Fort Lauderdale on 45 TV. End to end. It's exactly what you'd expect from the top two teams in the NASL. Salazar takes a bit of a whack on the ankle. Foul called against Minnesota.
But the run, the foul there by Mendez, and the referee called the advantage. Fort Lauderdale has the ball clearly. And to give Fort Lauderdale the opportunity to score a goal. They just didn't connect.
Alves to put it back in play. Chance now for Fort Lauderdale, but Davis Picol was in.
Little miscommunication between Aaron Pitchcole and Calvano. One went to the ball and the other one to the ball. Instead of one dropping back for support. And almost gave Fort Lauderdale an opportunity to score that goal.
Fort Lauderdale has done a nice job. When they're playing the balls out of the back, they're targeting the head of Ali Hassan, and they have found it numerous times. He's had some very good flicks and creating some opportunities here for the Strikers in this first 40 minutes.
Yeah, he's a big target up there.
Hassan, 6'3".
Yeah.
It's nice to have some height, especially when you play against defenders who have some height as well.
Right. Yeah, we can't. Minnesota can't quite.
Good step by Jordan. Davis, one touch.
Good ball out.
King with it now.
Good run by King.
Nunez turns upfield.
Look at the freedom King has to make that run all the way forward in the front line from right defense. He's now diagonal to the left-hand corner. You like coaches that give that kind of freedom to players to be a little more creative.
Here now is Salazar. Nunez, good footwork into the Minnesota penalty area. Bracalello knocking up the line. Ibarra trying to get to it, can't quite do so.
Actually, nice ball by Simone up that flank, just couldn't quite keep it in bounds.
They're in the 50th minute in Indy at Carroll Stadium. Ottawa leads 3-2. So it's kind of the way that Indy, their games are going. They are scoring some goals and they're allowing some goals.
Yeah.
And so, it's just a continuation. Indy, they had played against Fort Lauderdale, lost 3-2, played against Minnesota, lost 3-2, and now they're sitting at 3-2 to Ottawa. But that's in the 50th minute, so there's time to play, obviously.
Yeah. I'd like to see them score a couple of goals and get their first win.
Would be nice for General Manager Peter Wilt and for everybody involved with the Indy crew to kind of get their first win. Davis, good tackle by Nurse.
Simone Bracalello set Davis up beautifully, but he was just get a little bit heavy first touch and thought he could get to it before the defender. Nurse got out there quickly and blocked it.
Good turn by Jordan into space to start the attack. Knocks it out. Mendez. Guerrero to defend. Ramirez, a little bit of a stutter. Jordan. Take over Ramirez.
This is better possession by Minnesota we've seen in a while for the last couple games.
And Bracalello offside on that ball over the top from Vicentini.
Yeah, Simone's got to see just ball watching and not last defender pull back a bit just to be onside when the ball's served. Watch. It looks going to be kind of close though. Just a step offside. Good call by the linesman. But Simone just hangs back a half a step and he's onside.
Over the top, Picol. Pitch Colin over there. Hassan. Salazar with space. Left-footed Bender!
And great ball by Salazar wide. Finds an open player. It's kind of a 2-on-1 situation. Salazar took the shot. But just... See, who went down to make that pass, Chris? I couldn't see in the
Ali Hassan played it across.
Hassan played it across. Great ball, and a one-touch ball falling down. Trying to get players to see that one-touch opportunities is crucial to being a high-level player, and he did it very well.
Van Oekel played every minute so far this season for Minnesota.
One reason Coach Lagos was so upset about that last situation, we're getting down to close to halftime. He wants his team players back defending with that 1-0 lead. It's not that you'd stop playing, but you play a little more conservatively now. You get that good defending play.
This is the time, especially if you're up a goal, when you're leading, this is the time where you really kind of need to, tighten the screws and really focus and not make a mistake headed into halftime.
Okay, now they just have to get organized, still put pressure on. They make sure they do it from a safe position, keeping numbers behind the. Fort Lauderdale got 4 across and on Minnesota's back 4. So Greg Jordan's got to step back a little bit, not be too anxious to get forward.
Pitchkolin wisely gives up the throw-in.
Yeah, Simone's got to get back quickly.
Three minutes of extra time added to this first half of play. Good work by Ibarra. Here now, Minnesota. Bracalello pulls it back. And a foul called.
Simone Bracalello can be so crafty. Watch his touch, control. Defender comes, fake, pulls it back. Again, the back leg of King drags Simone forward. He can't get back to the ball. And the referee correctly blows the whistle, makes the decision to call the foul, and Minnesota's free kick.
In this first half, Minnesota looking to add on to their 1-goal lead going into the locker room. Fort Lauderdale obviously would like to keep it just a 1-goal differential. Bracalello on the set piece for United. Ramirez wide open, as is Calvano on the far post. Instead, driven right in. Post run. Can't quite connect, and Nikolov makes the save. Here, Fort Lauderdale on the counter. Guerrero. Cleared out by Ibarra.
If Jordan could have got his body in front of that ball. Watch the driven ball. Jordan just a little early. Just couldn't, a little late actually. Couldn't quite get in front of that ball and screen the goalkeeper. Suddenly it's off the goalkeeper's hand in the goal.
Good work by Pakal along the end line. Good hustle by Fafa Pakal.
Very good.
Tackle by Nurse. Nurse, during his time, was known as a very physical player. Played in Carolina as well as Puerto Rico. And has been playing for the Guyana national team during the World Cup qualifiers. So, and he captained the Guyana team as well. And Martin Nunez, writhing in pain on the field, top of the 18, holding his face, so he may have taken a shot to the face, obviously.
It was a 1-2. He's running through, and there's a crowd of players. The ball was played, and he ran through. He might have called an elbow, or an arm, or a shoulder. He's writhing in pain, Chris, so it looks real.
Yeah, there is a chance that the 5'6" Martin Nunez could have caught an elbow or something from one of the taller Minnesota defenders. So,
and you hope it wasn't intentional.
Correct.
That's what you hope for, and
training staff tending to Martin Nunez. Minnesota United, while we have an opportunity, made a big announcement earlier this week. They will be hosting Swansea City of the English Premier League here at the National Open. You're a soccer fan, you got to come out and see Minnesota United take on EPL's Swansea City.
Yeah, English Premier League, one of the top leagues in the world, if not the top league in the world. And a team like Swansea City, who's finished middle of the table, but they're great. Let's leave the run by.
You see Nunez going down, and it may have been a left arm coming up from Thiago Calvano that caught Nunez up under the chin or kind of into the face.
I don't see him throwing the arm back. Let's watch carefully. Tough to say. Was it that high? Yeah.
So Nunez, as you see there, slowly walking off the field.
He's probably not hurt as badly as he reacted, but he probably did take an elbow, and Calvano should have I'd prefer defenders keep those elbows down, not have them that high. Hit somebody in the head.
Corner kick from Salazar. Here comes Pitchkolin, or excuse me, Van Oekel, clearing it off the head of Pitchkolin. Ibarra. Vicentini doesn't quite have the wheels. Nikolov there. The whistle from the referee will end this first 45 minutes of play. And the score, Minnesota United 1, Fort Lauderdale Strikers 0.
Game that lived up to its billing, Chris. Has and how electric it is and how much fun it is to come and watch these teams play. Hey.
We're back underway here. Fort Lauderdale kicking off to start. Nurse swinging it out to Nunez. Salazar tries the back heel. Nurse. Alves now with some time.
Good step by King that flank. And
good touch by Nunez. Here's Guerrero. Left-footed cross in. Far post, and Van Oekel letting it go. And, you know, Matt Van Oekel, fortunately, he knew his area.
Yeah, watch a driven cross by Guerrero down that flank. Matt just lets it go, knows it's going out, and no people on the far post to pick that up. But you got to be impressed by Chris, how his pace and runs and crosses, and they really overload the side and make it difficult to mend.
Yeah, Ivan Guerrero has 3 assists so far this season. He finished with 6 last year and was the NASL fall assist leader, including 4 in a 6-2 win over Atlanta. So Ivan Guerrero really contributing offensively from his defensive position. Fort Lauderdale showing good attack right now and good possession. They just gave it up across the goal line, of course, as we mentioned their possession, but they were with the tempo. Minnesota's got to get the ball under control. Once again, we talked about the midfield before the game. Now it's Greg Jordan who has to step in and Giuliano, find Miguel Ibarra. They have to find each other, keep that possession for a while.
I caught up with assistant coach Carl Craig in the tunnel coming out of the locker room after halftime, and I guess the main message that he stressed in the locker room to the team was keeping their shape, keeping the momentum, but being a little bit more assertive and not letting Fort Lauderdale the ones that are the only people making the moves on the field in the second half.
Excellent, thank you, Lindsay. And it is really important for Minnesota United now here to protect that lead. They don't want to sit back, obviously, and have all 11 players behind the ball. They need to keep that pressure on the Fort Lauderdale defense and protect that 1-goal lead.
You see Mendez just, you know, soft pass. You got to get that ball out quickly.
Ball off the head of Pakal.
Ford's doing good handling those crosses. Not giving Fort Lauderdale many chances, but right now the midfield is kind of losing that battle. They've got to win the battle in the middle now with good possession.
Ramirez and Alves doing battle. Nikolov Holt hustling over. And they're going to say he didn't keep it in play, so it's going to be a corner kick. 4 minutes. I think the home team kind of getting a gift on that one.
Yeah, maybe it's the lines with X-ray vision. I don't know how he saw it through his back. You know, that Nikolov had a cover with his back, and how could the linesman see? But Minnesota will take the corner.
This Minnesota United corner kick. Which superior sandwiches? Bracalello on the corner over Antonievich, which is a tough task, but Jordan did it. But foul called against Greg Jordan. Quickly comes Fort Lauderdale.
They love to counter and find open players in those spaces.
Pakal, 3 goals on the season so far. Looking to get number 4. Back heel, finding Chin on the ground. Nunez! And ties this game at 1.
Great counter by Fort Lauderdale down that flank with pace and tempo. Again, this left side has been a little vulnerable. Weak tackle on the side here, and whatever went through and just play the ball across, and they tap it in. And now it's 1-1. As we said, Chris, before the game's not over. Down the flank, Chin, great strong run. Jordan just let him go by him. And Coleman not in good position to block that one. Defenders sort of ball watching. Watch a step. They got called ball watching, leave the players open. Where's Justin Davis? Aaron Shapichkolin. Where players going? On the flank, Jordan's he's been playing quite well, but he's got to get in front of that Chin. As Chin makes that move, he can't let him get goals at him with the ball. And that just gave him an open lane to the end line and just laid it right across for Nunez to tap it in.
So scoring for the Fort Lauderdale Strikers, his 4th goal of the season. Number 9, Martin Nunez, the assist given to number 17, Sean Chin. Nunez from Chin in the 50th minute makes the score 1-1. Vicentini, good switch over to Ibarra. Vicentini trying to thread the needle to Ramirez. Here now, Fort Lauderdale on the counter once again.
Again, Minnesota midfield giving that ball up in bad situations.
Pakal, good strike. Diving save by Van Oekel, pounces on the rebound.
See, all the midfielders getting forward. Take good touch. Fox strikes it hard. Matt Van Oekel positions himself well, just knocks it down so he can pick it up easily. He knew there was no other forwards coming in.
Now, Minnesota United, in their game against Indy, they were quite successful in counterattacks, in a couple goals from that way, and now they have to be careful now and not be the victim of a counterattack by Fort Lauderdale, especially now with the Strikers recently tying it up.
You want to get that goal back, but you have to be patient. You just can't force all your midfielders forward if they head then and leave themselves vulnerable, just a counter-attack against your back, 2 or 3 defenders.
Today's match clock is brought to you by Seiko, the official timekeeper of the NASL. Coleman. Now Ibarra, slicing into the middle. Out to Broccolello, Davis to his left. Good sliding tackle there by King. King slow to get up. Play continues with the ball at the feet of Brian Coleman. Tripped up by Salazar. King down on the ground holding the back of his head. Just tripping up. Was in his 3rd year with Fort Lauderdale. 3rd year with Fort Lauderdale. Having played at Florida Atlantic University, so a local product from that Fort Lauderdale area. He was voted one of the 10 best players in the Mid-America Conference at Florida Atlantic, and he was the only one in those top 10. It was Darnell King and 9 Zips in the top 10. Broccolello on the restart. Headed out by Hassan. Flag is up from the assistant referee. Minnesota in an offside position, coming back to play that ball.
Get back inside that last defender to give your team an opportunity to battle for the ball, not just give it away like that. As we said, this left side with Guerrero coming down the flank. Ramirez coming back just much too slow.
Good flick by Hassan, but then Salazar offside on that ball. So once again, Fort Lauderdale having success finding the head of Ali Hassan, and he's getting some good touches and finding his open teammates.
When you have a big target player, you want to take advantage of him, Chris, and play it often, enables you to sort of bypass the midfield initially, then play it back into the midfield, and then try to tear that other team apart. Good passing.
King dings it off of Broccolello. 55th minute here. 1-1 our score. Chris Lidholm, along with Buzz Lagos and Lindsay Gensel. We thank you for joining us on 45. The game so far is It's been a dandy these first 55 minutes. A correction, King. Nurse was right in there as well. Going to call the foul against King, though.
It's a step. Ball played. Rama. The shoulder got pushed inside there. Good call by the referee.
Coleman through the wickets of Nunez. Ibarra. Now Mendez. Better service in from Mendez next time for United.
He had to get that ball to a player's feet. A wonderful play by Ibarra to get away from three Fort Lauderdale defenders and find the open player, and Mendez just couldn't connect.
Daniel Mendez, who was very active and very known in the game against Indy here a couple weeks back, has been very quiet tonight. You haven't really heard a lot from Daniel Mendez.
And on the other side, again, he needs to be better job defensively. He said this left flank is causing Minnesota trouble, and part of it is his inability to defend well. Well, I will say that Fort Lauderdale does tend to get numbers up on this channel, so it takes sharp defending by two players. In this case, Brian Cole Mendez, and they're not quite, which is close the ball down, get back quickly, get goals out of the ball quickly, and perhaps we see Greg Jordan or Aaron Pitchcombe or Cabano come in and help out every now and then.
Ramirez double teamed, clearance by Chin, off the head of Pitchcombe. Nurse. Pacall. Davis, good work to keep it in between the lines. Vicentini. Coleman. Turned over in the middle third.
And he's got to get back quicker than that.
Pacall in no rush now to start that attack, allowing his teammates, allowing numbers for Fort Lauderdale. Vicentini tried to touch it around Alves.
Poor first touches, both by Giuliano and Christian Ramirez, but possession back again.
Here now, Greg Jordan. Coleman picks his head up. Ibarra with some space. Ramirez. Left foot shot. Well hit! Oh my! By Chris!
Again, great combination play on the flank. With Brian Coleman, Miguel Ibarra. Miguel Ibarra plays across, and Chris Ramirez with what I call not the best touch, but a volley touch. A bouncing ball he can just hammer and crack. Takes off the ground, rock in the upper corner. Gives Minnesota the lead again. A second goal which was crucial against this team like Fort Lauderdale. But a wonderful shot. Little reminiscent of Mark Anderson's goal in the game against Atlanta for Fort Lauderdale. And a finish that was needed again. Ibarra hits it, the touch flicks in the air, and he gets the half volley, cracks it in left foot, upper corner. Nobody can save that one. Here comes Fort Lauderdale right back again.
So his fourth goal of the season, number 21, Christian Ramirez, gives Minnesota United a in the 58th minute. The assist to Miguel Ibarra. Ramirez from Ibarra in the 58th minute gives United a 2-1 lead. A strike by Ramirez. As you said, very similar to the Mark Anderson goal last week against Atlanta.
That little touch, bouncing ball, catches the half volley. Fort Lauderdale's got to close him down much faster. They can't give him time to get that little bouncing ball and crack that half volley, which is just almost unstoppable.
That is definitely a play of the week contender in the NASL, and if it's not, there's something wrong.
There'll be some other really good goals perhaps, Chris.
Hopefully there are some other good ones to get him, but that is like a beautiful goal by the first-year Minnesota United player Christian Ramirez.
He's just trying to keep pace with the goals by Martin Nunez.
That's right, Martin Nunez and Christian Ramirez, top two scorers, couple of top scorers in the NASL coming into tonight. along with Fafa Pakal. Cleared up by Van Oekel. Good pressure put on. Oh, rather Mendez kept it in play. Long range shot. Ramirez trying to catch Nikolov well off his line.
A little ambitious from this angle that far out, but I like the idea. It's better more from the center of the field than from the flank. It's tough to beat the keeper from the flank like that unless you get that upper far post corner on him.
King now out of the back for the Strikers, looking to level this game. Van Oekel, quick distribution, Mendez. Wins it on the slide tackle.
Great play by Mendez. That was a not good distribution by Van Oekel.
Ibarra with speed, slicing into the middle around Nurse. Around Salazar. Vicentini now. Ooh. Tough angle into the hands of Nicola.
Yeah, and the ball played by Miguel Ibarra. Just a little bit too much pace. Juliana had to chase that down. Just barely got around it with his left foot and couldn't get it back away from the goalkeeper.
One thing that nicely set up that opportunity for Vicentini, even though he took it a little steep, was a good off-the-ball diagonal run by Christian Ramirez. He went the opposite direction and took a defender or two with him and opened up that space for Vicentini.
Yeah, that off-the-ball movement by players is so important. So often goes unrecognized, except by the coaches.
And by the announcers sometimes.
Too, that's right.
Here's Chin. 62nd minute.
And we keep an eye on Greg Jordan. He's got to get back and sit in that pocket. Is that Simone on the flank again? We just can't give up these bad tackles in the midfield on his wing players.
Salazar trying a little chip over the top. Headed away by Pitchkola. Mendez with a lot of real estate in front of him. Over to defend his Chin. Minnesota now content just to slow up the pace. They start the attack. Once it's kind of shut down by Fort Lauderdale, they'll slow it up a bit and just keep possession and take as much time off the clock as they can here with the 1-goal lead. Good poke tackle there by Chin to win it back for the Strikers. Nunez quickly ahead, Pakal. Over to defend his Pitchkola.
Needs help.
Coleman is there to do so.
A little slow getting back though, Chris. I like those defenders get back much quicker. You saw the one-on-one Fafa had, and he can be dangerous in that scene. He was. He pushed it through, and the defender was there.
There you see some of the great crowd that's gathered here at the National Sports Center tonight for this fight for first matchup between Minnesota and Fort Lauderdale. If you want to be a part of this crowd, coming out next week, Minnesota United hosts the Carolina Railhawks here in Blaine. Kickoff at 7 o'clock. You can get your tickets, mnunitedfc.com/tickets. Good work by Jordan in the midfield.
Jordan's been doing quite well.
Good ball in the corner from Bracalello. Mendez.
Take him on.
Take on Antonievich. Sides the plate and support the Ibarra. Good sliding tackle by Antonievich. Ramirez. Antonievich. And a scissor kick by Guerrero with the clearance. Good skill by Pitchkola to win that.
Well done. Got the foot out in front. Find his teammate. Going wide again.
This time from Davis. Mendez. Drive it back in. Back to Davis. Tried to play it back to Jordan. Not hit as well as he wanted. Salazar on the right side for Fort Lauderdale. Now they'll slow it up. The head of Ali Hassan, looking for some runs from Pakal and Nunez.
They also want to make Minnesota play a little defense for a while too and put the pressure on them and get some comms with the ball.
Here's Nunez. Salazar. And they're going to have a foul called against Coleman. Nunez had played the ball in Salazar, and then a collision between Nunez and Coleman. And a yellow card shown to Brian Coleman of Minnesota.
And Chris is one of the most dangerous spots in the field to have a free kick. His angle to goal, powerful right footer. It's just going to be tough for Matt Oekel to read if it's on frame. It's upper corner left, upper corner right, up over the wall. We'll see what Fort Lauderdale has in their arsenal of free kick specialist. Again, watch the run. Where is...
Little bit of a grab from Coleman on the arm, but that's a 50-50 decision on the referee for the yellow card. So Brian Coleman goes into the 65th minute here.
And the thing is, Brian Coleman shouldn't have grabbed the shirt. Not in that dangerous space there. I always tell players, let the guy get the goal if it gets the goal. Live with the goal. You made a mistake. Next time, don't dive in, get back, turn, retreat with that back leg. Get that pace in front of the guy on the 1-2 and face the consequences. Fouling and setting up a situation like this. I know some people call it professional foul. I like to say, get the feet moving, get out in front of the guy, turn when he plays the ball, and sprint back quickly. Don't find yourself getting beaten that way. If you do it better the next time. Work on it in practice.
There you see goalkeeper Matt Van Oekel setting his wall.
You can see now.
Got kind of a 5-man wall. 6 if you want to include Justin Davis. Sean Chin in there to do a little disruption for Fort Lauderdale.
No, in general, I like the right foot striker, but again, left foot players can knock it over that near post too in this situation.
Nunez and Salazar around the ball for Fort Lauderdale. Just entered the 67th minute. Referee setting the wall to its 10 yards. We await the whistle from referee Fotis Bazakos.
Matt, again, Van Oekel can't see the ball very well.
So we'll see if it'll be the right foot of Martin Nunez for Fort Lauderdale.
Referee's just letting them know that wait till he plays the whistle.
Wait for the whistle. The whistle is. Quick one by Salazar into the wall. So Minnesota now pushing out. High clearance from Davis. Going to call the foul against Ibarra. You say had a bit of Darnell King.
He had his arms out holding him, but I thought King was at his arms out too. I was kind of, he could have blown the whistle and pointed the direction. Watch. He doesn't get a good first touch. He wanted to get that good first touch. Tries to get inside of him. Oh, I don't see much of a foul there at all, Chris.
Yeah, originally when I saw it, it looked to be more than there actually ended up being.
Yeah.
So
King just went down low, and Miguel's arm was up above him. So, great ball.
good cross back at the box. Nunez giving chase. Coleman. Chin. Good little chip in towards the penalty spot. Off the head of Davis. Hassan to it first for Fort Lauderdale. And then the touched off of Broccolello, so it'll be a corner kick for the Strikers here in the 68th minute. They're down by 1.
Side if he wants the players a little bit more tenacious defensively in the flank for either Mendez or Broccolello. Get some fresh legs out there too. Greg Jordan's doing well.
Punched out by Van Oekel. United on the counter. Mendez. Slowed up. Good work, good positioning there by Ivan Guerrero to
position. A little fatigue right now. Give him that ball in the first 20 minutes of this game. He's by on his way to the end line to get a cross in.
It's the type of defending you'd expect from a member of the Honduran national team. Ivan Guerrero with 84 caps during that time for the Honduran national team. So a quality player in the back for the Strikers.
I'd love to see a player like that. He uses his body so well, and as I said, 36 years old, still playing with pace and tempo and skill. Good ball out.
Good turn by Davis. Broccolello with the switch. Mendez with time.
Move the ball the other way a little quicker. He's a little sluggish with that ball. Although, again, not a bad choice to keep possession, make Fort Lauderdale defend a bit, let your team rest a bit defensively.
Step by Antonievich. Ibarra! Goal! Ibarra makes it 3.
What great combination play. What great combination play out there. Wonderful stuff. Miguel Ibarra's pace, and he just used the left foot to curl around the outside defender, outside the keeper. Left footer. You love that creativity.
So Miguel Ibarra makes it a 3-1 lead for Minnesota. We have a yellow card issued. The Fort Lauderdale Strikers are a little upset. Not just a little, they are quite upset with the assistant referee because the ball came off the foot of Antonievich. The assistant referee thought it came off of Ramirez, and the flag came up, thus forcing the Strikers to stop. As you see there on the replay, Strikers defenders kind of held up a little bit because they saw the flag come up, and Ibarra went in and slotted it past Nikolov.
And the flag coming up, no matter if you see a flag come up, you can't stop playing. It's the referee's whistle that determines whether you keep playing or not, and not the linesman flag. And so, I mean, the other team thinks he's putting the flag up, and you stop playing because he thinks you should be all offside, and suddenly the referee lets it play on because he doesn't agree with the decision by the linesman. Players cannot stop playing. The flag is no criteria of a call. The referee can ignore it. He doesn't think it's appropriate. And if players stop playing, that's their problem.
And Gunther Kronsteiner upset as well. He's actually made a couple steps onto the field, having a heated discussion with the fourth official. Maybe wanting to have a chat with center referee Fotis Bazakos. So we'll see. And Buzz, you're right. You play until you hear the whistle. You don't play until the flag. But
what's he wishing for? Inappropriate flag raising?
Something, not quite sure. So
no, I think they are asking for something because the flag went up. But the referee can ignore the flag and keep the play. Doesn't have to call offside. Doesn't think it's offside. The guy, if the linesman puts his flag because he thinks it's a foul, referee doesn't think it's a foul. He doesn't blow his whistle. You can bet at this level, you can't let it distract you. You have to keep playing. And right now, they're looking for an excuse to the fact that Minnesota scored a wonderful goal. And just can't take it away from them.
In the scrum down there with the Strikers players and the assistant referee, it appeared that 2 yellow cards were issued to Strikers players. There was a whole group of Strikers players, so we're not quite sure who the yellow cards were issued to. But we will, get that information as soon as we can. But 2 yellow cards handed out to Fort Lauderdale.
There's your 14. Carlos Salazar got 1, and so the other one is 2.
The official announcement has been made here at the National Sports Center, and receiving yellow cards in that from Fort Lauderdale were Ivan Guerrero and Carlos Salazar. So each of them go into the book here in the game this evening. But 2 yellow cards and a goal for Minnesota, and with 3-1 lead here in the 74th minute.
And it's going to still take a lot of defending by Minnesota.
It's interesting that you guys knew who the yellow cards were issued to, as it looks like we've got another Fort Lauderdale. Before
And
the current one was out.
Make that a red card to Martin Nunez. Sorry to interrupt, Lindsay, I'm sorry, but yeah, red card to Martin Nunez, and you can just sense that one coming, especially after the situation just a few minutes earlier.
Now, did Nunez have a yellow? He must have had a yellow before that. I don't remember it, Chris, but he must have.
And a yellow card shown to Darnell King.
Lauderdale's kind of losing their cool right now. They're letting the referee get into their head, playing good soccer. And Martin Nunez is a gifted player. Tough to see him leave the field. But again, he's got to control that touch. He just took the player from behind, took him down. Obvious yellow card situation. And he's got a yellow sit on, and he's got to be much smarter. Just to let that guy run. You're better off giving up the goal, the counterattack. And drawing that second yellow and being left off the field, and now your team has to play short, in addition to being down 2 goals.
Martin Nunez getting his last sort of quote-unquote comments in to the fans here who are singing to him as he heads to the locker room. We'll take another look. You see Nunez just no interest in playing the ball whatsoever and trying to plow his way through Daniel Mendez.
Yeah, you just can't run a player over like that, especially when you have that card.
So sure enough, because it was the second yellow to Martin Nunez, resulting in that red card. So
Minnesota cannot be casual.
good catch by Van Oekel. Yeah, this is especially when they are, Minnesota United are up a man here for this last 15 minutes or so. They need to be very careful. Granted, they have a 2-goal lead, but it's just a 2-goal lead. And we've seen Fort Lauderdale. They can score quickly, and they can score out of nowhere. So they have to keep their composure, does Minnesota, as they finish off Fort Lauderdale here for these final 15 minutes.
And ideally, you play quickly. Calmano just held that ball and tried to draw a foul, and the referee's not going to give him the call because his team is up 2 goals. The other team's up not happy. It's got to be a really obvious foul. Just to try to draw a foul and fall. He didn't have to even get in that situation. Play it quick, and your team's on its way.
Prior to that red card on Martin Nunez, I don't think anyone was quite sure who the yellow cards had been issued to in that initial scrum here on the sidelines, because when I asked the fourth official, he had no idea who they had been issued to, what numbers. So interesting to find out that one actually had gone to Martin Nunez, because not official down here on the field.
Thank you, Lindsay. We have a substitution to take place here for Fort Lauderdale. Now into the game will be number 27, Colin Murphy. He'll be replacing number 14, Carlos Salazar. So Murphy now entering the game, making his first appearance of the season for Fort Lauderdale. Murphy, last couple of seasons with Team Wellington in the New Zealand Football Championships. 17 appearances, 2 goals during that time with Team Wellington. So an experienced player coming on for an experienced player going off.
Right, fresh legs too, and hope they can get a goal back, and eventually 2 goals back.
Murphy also played for New Zealand in 2 Youth World Cups in 07 under the U17 level in South Korea, and then again 4 years later in 2011, the U20 level for in Colombia. Given away, Bracalello has a shot at it. You knew he wanted to maybe hit that about 2 times. Tried to try and get a better touch in front of him to hit it.
Yeah, he couldn't get quite the power or accuracy he wanted, just hit it right at the keeper. And although Ramirez is a little frustrated, he made a good run.
Here's Chin now. He has a strike from distance, and that's Jordan pushing forward for United.
I was hoping to talk to Coach Kronsteiner at halftime about this, but the only time that Fort Lauderdale beat Railhawks on April 19th, so no doubt what they talked about at halftime, because they ended up going on to lose that game 4-1, their only loss of the season so far.
And sometimes, Buzz, it's those early goals, the deficit is tough to come back from. You kind of give up a goal early, and you just don't seem to recover as well as you think you should.
Again, a little casualness by Brian Coleman there. Excuse me, Chris. I just get frustrated because I want to see them knock that ball again. Ramirez needs a simple play, keep possession.
Here's Bacall for Fort Lauderdale, working against Pitchcola. Left-footed peg. That goes just a bit off frame, so it'll be a goal kick.
Fort Lauderdale's going to try to get as many one-on-one situations like they can, and Minnesota can't let that happen. Again, Ramirez actually comes all the way back to help out. Bacall gets that shot off and just wide. But again, dangerous play. And Minnesota, with their 11 versus 10, should not be letting that happen.
We're in the 80th minute here at the National Sports Center. Minnesota United with a 3-1 lead over Fort Lauderdale. Chris Lidholm, along with Buzz Lagos and Lindsay Gensel, we thank you for joining us on 45 TV. Hey, Minnesota United. Perhaps you want 45 TV is where you want to be. Following the game, watch Friends and How I Met Your Mother starting at 10 o'clock, right here on 45 TV. And before Friends and How I Met Your Mother, make sure to stay tuned for 45 News at 9, coming up next after the game. Good touch by Jordan.
Yes, it was. Jordan's been a very good factor in the midfield overall. He makes an occasional mistake, but he's a far more positive influence than expected.
Collision between Jordan and Nurse results in a
Good touch by Jordan around him. He made the good call. Sees him coming, touch away. Nurse just holds him off from the ball. See, Minnesota's just a little static right now.
good ball through, just too strong for Ramirez.
You want to get Davis back and not too many runs.
A little dangerous. Hassan with an opportunity, but Van Oekel helps out Pitch Colin, and they give each other a little bit of a low five there to Pitch Colin. Hey, thanks. Bracalello.
Brian Coleman's getting caught up. You don't want to make those runs like that in general out of the back. I'd rather have Brian Coleman be conservative, hang back, let the players move the ball in front of him, be a support player, knock it back around. See, now Minnesota can just keep possession for a minute or two.
And that, just if they do a minute or two at a time, that just chops away at the time that is remaining. We're, about 10 minutes left to go here at the National Sports Center.
Brian Coleman wants to hang out, and he should be back. Have him back defending, as opposed to attacking. You have Miguel Ibarra back.
Pitch Colin pressured by Chin. Good work by Sean Chin. Forced that error.
In Brian Coleman's case again, he's been back as an outlet pass, and so did Justin Davis. Been back there too. So he can play square across the back and keep that possession. Aaron Pitch Colin had a little chance to do what he wanted to do there.
Dangerous ball back from Calvano. Hustling back is Davis. That was a bit of an unfair matchup right there. 6'5" Antonievich against the 5'6" Miguel Ibarra.
Danger's there.
Turned over. Hassan cuts it to his right.
Oh, couldn't get the power on.
As he wanted, and diving save by Van Oekel keeps it a 2-goal game.
Who made that bad play?
Bracalello.
Oh, Simone. His passes. Classic pass by Simone Bracalello. He does pretty well, but runs away. He gives up a stinker.
Back heel by Alvin. Gets through for Hassan. One touch. Good ball from Ali Hassan.
That space.
He's doing it with his head and his feet tonight for Fort Lauderdale. Chin. Now Murphy.
Coach Lagos encourages his team to get back behind the ball. No fouls, defend well.
Good bit of a dummy there by Murphy. Doesn't quite get all the way through to Hassan, but the flag is up from the assistant referee nonetheless. There we have a final. The New York Cosmos win a second in the row, 3-0 over Tampa Bay. Al Lang Stadium, so a good road win there for Cosmos.
And they're making a run now, Chris. They're going to put the pressure on Minnesota down this leg on Fort Lauderdale. Looks like if this game holds up the way it is, they'll both be 3 points behind New York and 3 points behind Minnesota. Fort Lauderdale.
That's the 4th win of the season for the Cosmos.
Keep it simple. That was one Greg Jordan had to find Brian Coleman. Now he dives in.
Murphy on the run. Through for Bacall. But he's offside.
Mighty close on that one. And Bacall foolishly whacks the ball at the goalkeeper. Takes precious seconds off the clock. I know he's upset about the fact that he was offside. But again, he'd rather chase the ball down, get it back to the spot, and get this game going again. Now he's wasted 30, 45 seconds as Minnesota takes his time, which they have a right to do, and set up for this free kick.
We're into the 86th minute here. 3-1 game. We'll take a look.
Step was the pass. will be touched. And a great call by the lines. And just, again, a step, you can read the lines, the grass cut, and you can see where the players are and see how Buffalo is offside.
Almost on that one, you'd like to see Pakal make more of a diagonal run. Try and, instead of being even with the back line of Minnesota, maybe start 3-4 yards back and make a diagonal run either in front of one of the defenders for Murphy to hit that through ball onto him.
I like to call it like a bending run. You sort of bend and curl your run, so you stay on side and you're facing upfield again, going fast forward.
Flag up. Ibarra offside. Great crowd, like we said, gathered here at the National Sports Center. You know, and they're all here till the end to watch their home squad take on Fort Lauderdale. We have a substitution for Minnesota United. Entering the game now for Minnesota will be number 16, Tyler Pollock. He replaces Simone Bracaloa. Bracaloa leaves the game with a goal here this evening, and an opportunity now for the Minnesota fans to see Tyler Pollock for the first time on the NFC field.
It's nice to see Simone score a goal. It really helps his confidence up, but I didn't think he had a great game overall. Got a little tired in the second half. But again, a good veteran player, good energy, and good positive attitude on the field for Minnesota.
If the last name of Pollock sounds familiar to Minnesota fans, Tyler is the younger brother of his teammate Nate, a forward for Minnesota. Tyler played at Creighton University. So, you know, and he's been solid during this whole preseason and really earned his spot on this United roster. Folks, we want to run you join Minnesota United players after the game at Clive's Roadhouse for fresh comfort food and a handcrafted beer. Located just west of the stadium, Clive's is your Minnesota United pre- and post-game headquarters. Clive's Roadhouse, not fancy, fresh and fun. Pakal takes it down with his chest, around Coleman. Foul called against Coleman. Quick restart by Pakal. Right back though. Coleman with the clearance. Antonievich called for the foul around the head of Christian Ramirez.
Yeah, it came up over the top instead of going straight up. Ramirez was trying to shoot, and the ball was dropping low, and Antonievich could not quite get to it and pull them over.
Not to be lost in the excitement of the second half. Wanted to give a update on Pablo Campos. Talked with the team athletic trainer Yoshi Ono. Next week, just a few months after the injury, he'll start underwater treadmill running, which is in the pool, and he'll start some more core work. His range of motion, Yoshi says, rated at an A+, and he still needs to work on his strength, but he's well ahead of the timetable they have set for him. So some good news for him. His injury, of course, March 13th, and the surgery happened on April 8th.
Thanks, Lindsay. And Pablo has made tremendous strides, and credit to him, a credit to the training staff, the medicals of Minnesota United, to get Pablo to where he is today so quickly. And you know, that again, you have to acknowledge the work by Pablo staying fit even during the offseason. That helps with his recovery during a season injury.
It sure does, because I want to give a little credit to Brian Cullen, who stayed home that time. Mendez and Ibarra set things up and get a good corner kick in to keep some possession.
Ball from Davis, headed away. Pollock with the header. King hustling. Little poke shot. Off the post! King hit the woodwork.
I think Van Oekel got a touch in that, but I'm not sure. Good run by King, good ball inside. Good. It just shows you how fast this game can turn around if Minnesota's not careful.
King almost made it a one-goal game. Take another look, little shot by King. Not quite sure Van Oekel got a piece of it.
No, great shot. Was at the far post in. Esnes, foolish foul. And the referee had a little time on. Goes and shoves the guy. Doesn't need to at all. Goes in the crowd. Should have just walked away. Got back defensively well. Again, just a little immaturity from some young players.
Mendez actually showed a yellow card for his efforts. So Mendez